That's pretty neat.
I just want 2 pictures. Thank you.
Dad is filming.
Can you do that after I get the... Okay. All right. You want me to take a picture of the box?
I wouldn't have picked that guy. Yeah.
Do you care?
It says Sleepy Hollow.
Why don't you?
It gets you a lot better if it's like that here. Where you can get a picture of the firehouse.
William, there it is.
This object here is a stepping stone. So in the old days, when people came by with their horse buggies, they pulled up to this, and people were able to get out of the stone, out of their carriages, step on this, step down to the ground. And this, I think, originally was up by the First Reformed Church in Sleepy Hollow, and it was moved here at some point, which I don't know. But that's what this is for. This over here, this is cool. It is a mile marker, and these were put out by Benjamin Franklin, was the originator of these. They were put here for the postal service on the post roads, because there's a Albany Post Road, which is this, Boston Post Road, and what's the other one? There's another one, but anyhow, there's 3 White Plains Post Road. They were put every mile for the postal service, so people knew, you know, when they were sending packages or whatever. And I believe the person had to pay for the package, not the shipper. The person. Now this marker says 28 miles to New York. They think it was placed here just to have it here. It was originally in the southern part of Tarrytown, because the measurement was from Lower Manhattan. That's where they took the measurement from, not from Midtown, because it's a big difference. And they were all on that side of the street. If you're going north, they were on the left-hand side of the street. But if you go into Dobbs Ferry, there's one in a wall. You go up Route 9 in Ossining, there's one. There's many around here, but that mile number, the 28 miles, it would be wrong for this distance. So.
But it's here.
Because we're not 28 miles from Lower Manhattan, are we?
If they say it was further down. I mean, further down, and
the marker was.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yes, the marker was. I think that as from what I heard, it was on the border of like Irvington, Tarrytown, possibly in that area. But I mean, this has been here as long as I can remember.
So it says from New York. So the miles and the 28 would have been here.
Yeah, 28. See the 28 down here?
Where?
Right there.
Oh, okay.
So miles from New York.
28.
So I was born and raised here. I lived right over there. I was born and raised right there. I've lived here all my life, and this has been here as long as I can remember.
I thought it was at the top and then washed off.
See, now you can see it. There you go. Good gardening work. Yeah. I know there's one in Dobbs Ferry, or the Dobbs Ferry Irvington border, right near Mercy College. It's kind of in the wall. There might be one in Irvington. I'm not 100% sure. And there's one up in Ossining, near the school in the wall. It's so great that they're preserved. I think it's called Dean. Let me change my glasses here. This is part of Sleepy Hollow Cemetery, this apron here. I think where that wall is, and that ends the old dungeon. Now the road originally, I don't know if Pete told you, the road originally came around this way, in there, down across the brook, and through that neighborhood over here, and it came out up on the top of the hill, kind of, not really on the top, but it looped around and came like where the high school is, kind of around that area. It wasn't like this. This was all swampland, and it was all part of the brook there, and that's where the road went. So the door of the church was where that big window is.
Yeah, I figure we'll get to that when we get up there.
Okay, well,
so that bridge is really more likely the...
It's way too far up. That's just put there to make it, that was going into the new section of the cemetery. They made it look historic.
Oh yeah, well,
I mean, it's a cool bridge. It's
more
nice
than this one here.
Yeah, well, William Rockefeller did this.
Okay.
1912. He had a big mansion, brother of John D. Up here, and the road was high up. They lowered the road, straightened it out, because there was another bridge right there that went across. They changed it from there to over here. I have a postcard of what it looked like with the second bridge. When I get all this stuff out, I'm going to take a picture and I'll send it to you.
So is this guy like the first person, or is he just a rich person that had his own crypt?
Yeah, it's just a rich guy. I think it's Thomas Dean.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Thomas Dean. Ourselves on there.
Oh, good.
We donated money from my sister and Pete's mom and my uncle.
That's sweet. Well,
We thought it was for a bench, but they put us up on there. So.
I think that's good. Perfect.
1685, they know it was in construction. The bell says, in Latin, if God be for us, who could be against us? With the date of 1685.
Is that the scripture from Paul that comes from?
It's a scripture, yeah. It's
From Paul, yeah.
Is that where it's from?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
I think it's from 2 Corinthians.
And it's the brick. They used a lot of yellow brick. You can see it when we go around the church. You'll see the brick that was imported from Holland.
Oh.
So this door was not here. This was a solid wall. The door was on the other side, and we'll take a walk around and we'll look at that. I think that is. Do you have your book with you?
Yes.
Let me double check where she is. I haven't been walking through here in a while. 1855. This is the oldest marker that's left. It says Elizabeth Guyons, and then they ran out of room and they put the S there in her grave. She was the infant that passed away.
Lord.
See, back in the day, before they started putting stone markers, they used to use wooden crosses and wooden markers, and they used to burn the fields and burn the grass, and a lot of
And
the
it would
markers.
burn up.
They estimate about 1,800 burials that aren't marked here.
Wow.
That's what I've been told in my research and stuff.
Wow.
Do you know anything about the tombstones, the red sandstone versus the granite?
Yeah, the
versus-
red sandstone were the after they did the wood, they used the red sandstone, and some of the material comes from New Jersey, and some of it comes from Connecticut.
Oh,
And then
that is
after that was primarily in the 1700s.
Okay, that's great.
Then when they got into the 1800s, they started using marble, but you can see marble deteriorates pretty badly and it rots. And then they went to granite, but there's not much granite. There's one right there, but there's not too much in here. A very good friend of ours, Bob Carpenter, he's a stone carver, stone restorer. He studied in Germany, and he did the on the organ in the church, a lot of the carving, and he's repaired a lot of these stones here. He's a very, very talented guy, very talented. And on some of these stones, you see the cemetery art. See the faces on there? See the face on that stone on the top, right here?
Yes.
We call them soul effigies. And they represent the soul winging its way to heaven, and with the crown of glory, which is promised in the scriptures, you will go to glory in heaven. So some of them have crowns on them, some don't.
So this looks like an early version. If I remember, he said, like the one over there with wings.
Yeah.
Was, they graduated to make it more three-dimensional.
And Solomon Brewer is one of the carvers, and he's buried in here. He's buried up along the road up there. So you want to walk around the church? Hollow, which was the first Reformed church, and they were the ones that were in here. It was this. Then in 1837, they needed more room, so the second Reformed church was built. And then there was another congregation that started, that split and had this church, and then they built their own church in Sleepy Hollow. And then they joined back together again in 1990. So there was two congregations, and then they became one.
So the building of the church, tell me about the brick versus the rock.
Well, I think the rock is all, from what I've read, it's all local stones.
So, but brick would be more expensive. They use that
Yeah.
for sealing, like the windows and
Well,
doors.
the original windows were small, and they were square on the top. They were to protect from Indian attacks and
Oh.
stuff like that, because in the 1600s, this was they were interloping
Yeah.
on the Indian territory. So then in 1837 they made these windows, but they used yellow brick because Frederick Phillips was a very wealthy man, and he imported yellow brick, and they went around the windows. And I guess when they took them out,
Is that an example of it right
Yeah.
there? Oh,
yeah, and you'll see more on the other side also.
yellow brick to
Follow the yellow brick.
to resemble gold.
I don't know. I know it's just like it was a wealthy thing to be able to bring this kind of brick around.
How do you make yellow brick? So, because red's clay.
Well,
Yeah,
we live
I don't
where
know.
red clay is. That's
Right.
what
Just
a
step
boring brick is predominantly red, but in this area, this was the color of the clay.
But they brought it from Holland, though, the yellow brick.
Ah.
See, there's
Ah,
there's none up here. Oh, this guy Bob Carpenter that I was telling you about, he made this. Alton the Witch. She was a Bohemian woman that lived in the woods in the back.
oh, this is the marker.
And she was they kind of thought she was a witch because she was Bohemian and they didn't understand herbs and all kinds of stuff.
Right. Kind of like, have you watched whatever it is on TV right now? Scottish, the Sam somebody, the what is it called? Outlander.
No,
Outlander.
I don't.
But anyway, they talk about anybody who did anything herbally or whatever.
Yeah, they didn't understand. So,
Right.
yeah.
Right.
So she, during a skirmish, because this was no man's land here, the British were in the city, the Patriots were north. This was a no man's land. So there was a lot of problems, skirmishes back and forth. The Cowboys and the Skinners were the two groups. I think the Cowboys were the British, Skinners were the Americans. And they fought all the time, and not all of them were interested in revolution. They were all just fighting. Burned people's houses, and this is a tough place to be. So she lived in the woods, and she had all these herbs, and they kind of stayed away from her. But during a skirmish, she helped them out and tried. She had a rifle, and she tried to help the Patriots out, and she got killed. And they found her in her hut wherever she lived. Not only did they find some money, but they found the Bible. So by finding a Bible, that made her a good woman,
yeah,
a Christian woman. So they're not
buried-
sure if this is exactly where she's buried, but they commissioned Bob to put this stone up.
Wow.
Which
The
is pretty
coins.
cool.
Yeah.
You
For
know,
good luck. I mean, it's a.
up in Carnegie's in the cemetery, Pete and I used to go clear it off. Now I go clear it off. You can't believe how much money people put dollar bills, quarters, on Carnegie's flat stone and on the Celtic cross.
Yeah. Money.
For good luck?
Good luck.
I guess they think it's going to bring them money.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
So I didn't even realize that people were putting money
Yeah.
on Holden. And then in this open area over here is the guess of where the horsemen.
Yeah, Pete told me that north from the church, 50 feet, which
Right,
is
right here.
where somebody marked it anyway. Instead, I wasn't me. That's 17 steps. That's where the Hessian was buried with the dissension between the church, because when he was killed in the skirmish, they buried him because he had a head off. But then the more they found out about him,
He rescued the Hessian soldier rescued a child from a burning building.
I heard his reputation was so evil that the church split.
The Hessians were.
They were trying.
Yeah.
They were split on either digging him up And they compromised and said, okay, we're just going to leave him there, but no headstone, because he's not worthy of a headstone.
That makes sense. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. But plus, they were Hessians, and they were known to be brutal. They were, they were here to
mercenaries.
fight a war. So
They're mercenaries.
yeah, exactly.
I'll get it.
Well, there's it.
The door was right here of the church. This is where the original door was. But those bricks are cool to see them in there,
Yeah.
Fascinating.
Especially right there.
right? I know, there's a bunch of them there. So this is where the door was, and the road came this way, went down over there and up, and on the top of the hill there's a Revolutionary War redoubt, which overlooks where the old bridge was, and you can see exactly. Actually, it overlooks right where I live in my neighborhood there, but that's where the road went.
And you got a rod going through the church with this star?
Yeah.
Earthquake.
Yeah, they have those, and they also have a lightning rod on the other side.
That's what the big metal cable is.
Yep, exactly. I think you can see it up there. You can see it running up along the wall. And that wall on the top of there, when they took it down, when they did restoration, there was a couple of bullet holes in it.
Wow. Now, how old do we think this roof is? I mean, I know it's had to be replaced because it's wood.
I'm sorry, what's that?
How old is the roof?
They replace it every so often.
Really?
I think the last time they did it was in
out of
Van Tassel, Eleanor Van Tassel brush. She was supposedly the model for Katrina Van Tassel. Her maiden name was Van Tassel. She was a beautiful young woman, and her father owned the farm where Sunnyside is. Supposedly, I think that's in that book there. Washington Irving bought that property, Sunnyside. It was called Wolford's Roost at one point, but supposedly her family lived there, and he knew of them, and he kind of took her life. He was a master at taking people's lives and putting them in the story. He was in the War of 1812 with a man named Ichabod Crane. And Ichabod Crane was not happy that he used his name in the book. Really?
Well, especially for that character.
Exactly.
Sniveling coward.
If you made him Brom Bones, it would be a different story.
Yeah.
But Ichabod Crane is buried in Staten Island. So, at Richmond Cemetery. So they think this is the one that he based Katrina Van Tassel.
Wow.
Now Ichabod is, he used the guy's name, but there was a school teacher up in Kinderhook, and Irving was known to go up to Kinderhook. And there's speculation, and it could very well be that there was a school teacher up there, and he used that guy as Ichabod Crane, school teacher.
Right, the character.
Yeah, it's very possible. Who knows? So it's very plausible that could have happened.
Well, okay, can I get you all three here, right?
To build the Hudson River Expressway, which would have gone from Route 117, which was built past Phelps Hospital. It was supposed to come out onto the Hudson River. That was William Rockefeller's estate. That would have hooked up with the Hudson River Expressway, would have come down and hooked up with the Tappan Zee Bridge, and it would have taken all of the traffic, the trucks and all that, taken them out of town,
Which
put them out there.
really needs it.
And certain
But
politicians...
what about your dad?
Well, my dad was mayor at the time, and he was for it because he thought it would be a good proposal.
Early 60s?
Mid-60s.
Mid-60s.
Mid-60s. And then certain politicians in town fought it, and Congressman Ottinger fought it, and the mayor of Tarrytown didn't like it. He was their buddy, and the Rockefeller backed off, and they never built it.
Was your husband from this area too?
Dobbs Ferry.
Okay.
A couple roads, a couple towns
And
down.
how'd y'all meet?
Reviewed what he...
Both.
Wow. That's pretty cool. Let's see. Daniel. Alrighty. Towns here that are in Dutch still remaining. So he was a town blacksmith, strong guy, muscular, tough guy, and I don't think he died before Irving was around, but he must have heard stories about him. And also, look in that book. I'm sure they'll give you more detail in there about him. But
I remember
there
Bones was a nickname for
Abraham, Bram, Brom. They kind of corrupted it.
Yeah, but Bones is a nickname that they gave back then to horsemen or
Oh,
stud
that could be. Yeah,
guys, you know.
yep. So Abraham Martlings became Brom Bones, and he was the town blacksmith. So it's this guy, and I think there was a Martlings that was killed too by an Underhill in Tarrytown. Let me see this book for you, please.
Oh, okay.
And
Well,
then
we
this
just
is, I think,
enjoy
his
spending the
son.
time with you.
Oh,
I mean,
thank
that's
you,
just-
and likewise. So I guess the son is the one that was the one that was the model for.
The hill that says he is buried 50
that's
feet
right, we're
on the north
outside.
side of the church. No tombstones.
where
And this is it. This is it.
And let's see.
I couldn't make it out.
That was a Van Tassel. That's a Cornelius
Yeah.
Van Tassel. It's hard to see. It's so dark. I wish I had a flashlight with me. You know what? The phone does.
I have one
Do you?
in the car.
I'll even get it marked. Katrina Van Tassel.
So a lot of
And-
people think that he used this name,
Uh-huh.
but I think the other one that we saw,
Brush,
Eleanor Van
yeah.
Tassel Brush,
Right.
is more of the
Right.
model.
Right.
But this has got the name also, you know.
Right.
But she was in-
Katrina.
If I remember from Pete, she was like an elderly rich person,
I'll tell you
and
what.
she was the farm girl, or one of the two.
Well, I think that
That one over there was the
sometimes
farm
they
girl.
use,
That's
like,
the farm
yeah.
girl. So
like
Yeah.
the
Wealthy.
name of one, but the personality.
Exactly,
Of the other one. Like,
exactly.
Like you're saying, like the teacher and then the guy named Ichabod. That he liked the name of this one,
But he liked the personality
character,
and the
right.
character.
And that
exactly.
that way too, they couldn't like sue him for slander, or libel, or whatever, because he had not. It was not. These characters are fictitious, you know.
Like I said to Paul, he was very clever in what he did, the way he made these stories. I mean, he was a smart guy,
Yeah.
very smart guy. And he came here, he placed it here. If you know the lay of the land, where it comes down the hill and it's sandy, the land there is
That's
very
the-
sandy,
that's
and there's
the-
a stream underneath. You wouldn't know it unless
Yeah.
you were from here. But,
Right, but
there's
he
a
knew it.
stream, and
Yeah, he
the road
knows
is
it.
over it. But up the
Right.
hill more, there's water. There's a
Yeah.
stream there, and he was here. He studied the place. You want to look at Bordeaux?
yes,
Who's Bedeau?
I'll have, to
Adam
look,
Bedell?
I'll have to look up and see if Ichabod Crane came to New York from Long Island on that sign and slugged him in the face.
It's
Yeah.
possible. It's very possible.
Who's Bedeau?
No, but
And I believe this is his son or his family members right here, Adam Bordeaux.
The
And,
oldest son. So yeah, that's who he. That's
Oh, so maybe Nicholas, maybe that was his dad. Yeah, probably, because he was born in 1809. He was born in
Okay.
1831. So he was born here in North Tarrytown, and he was Grant's personal secretary. And sometimes when you're up in the cemetery late in the day, and you go up past your main building and all that, and you look north and you see the sun hitting the. I have a picture I took, and it's so spectacular. It's just beautiful. Town, and she was in her 80s. She died in her 90s. And she told me that her dad worked on the tunnel. There was a tunnel going from the church to Folksburg Manor, went underneath, and she said her father worked on dismantling it.
why?
so that they didn't have to get wet when they came to church and visited the graves and
But it would make perfect
Yeah.
sense when this was done. I think. Look how high up. That neighborhood wasn't developed yet. That wasn't developed until like the 20s, I think, 20s or 30s. Look at the sunset. Now's the time to go.
Why don't we have the kind of cargo away thing?
Okay.
What you doing, honey?
Somebody send me
You
a.
want me to get my big flash?
No.
Are you sure?
No, it doesn't.
My
It's,
big flash will do it.
no, it's not working.
Okay.
I thought
No, it's not.
it showed promise, but it's not working.
What?
It showed promise, but it's not working.
Okay, well, somebody's tablet taking a picture of it.